Hi, welcome back to This is Alan speaking. So, the topic today, there's some specifics, but it generally involves age. What is age? Okay, now listen. You all in your lifetime have met people in their 20s that really are old souls, and they just act like they're so much older than 20. And then you've met 70 and 80-year-olds that, that old-fashioned word spry. They are with it. They know what's going on. They're swift. They're connected. Okay, so this is where I'm going with this specifically. Okay. Bernie Sanders, 83 years old. Okay. Just had the biggest rally he has ever spoken to in his entire career. And we all know at 83, he's had a long career. In Los Angeles, he gathered 36,000 people. Not even in a campaign season when he was running for president did he have that many people. But yet we have all these people complaining that Biden was too old. Okay? Biden was 5 years younger than Bernie. 4 years younger, excuse me. Okay? And what about that 78-year-old we have in the White House right now who can't put anything together? 2 words, it's all word salad, and it's all lies. Okay? So here's a little bit more specifics, okay? They booked a rally in Salt Lake City. Bernie Sanders booked a rally in Salt Lake City, okay? They thought it was going to be too big. The venue holds 15,000 people. They thought it was going to be too big. Guess what happened? Not only did they fill the rally, fill the seats, they had 1,000 people standing on the floor, and they had 4,000 people outside. You know why? Because that old guy has something to say, just like I have something to say, and you all have something to say. So age, while being a number, is only really in many ways descriptives, okay? You want to talk about Joe Biden and his age. Okay. Joe is slowing down. Joe has an impediment, okay? He has a speech impediment, okay? But that guy can talk rings around anybody about policy. And I don't care what anybody says, okay? By the time he left office, we had the lowest rate of unemployment since the 60s, and we had the best economic output of the world. We were the envy of every other country of the world. But we didn't elect Kamala. He went out. He was pushed out mainly because of his age. And George Stephanopoulos, as far as I'm concerned, has made some very derogatory comments about Joe Biden. I happen to think Joe Biden, when it comes to history, will go down as one of the best presidents we've ever had. It's going to take 5 years to 10 years for us to reflect. And by the way, with what's gone on in the last 10 weeks, are you happy? Okay. Don't you kind of wish that Sleepy Joe was still at the wheel, because at least the wheel was steady and we don't have all the insanity that we have going on right now? Okay. So let me just, I got to refer to my notes for this part. Okay. Salt Lake City for too big. Okay. So 83-year-old, too old? No. He's a real patriot. Okay. Bernie's a patriot. And I hate to say this, but this is a personal admission. You know, when the 2016 election happened, okay, I was for Hillary, and I admit it. I wanted a woman to win, okay, and Hillary wasn't that old. She was older than most people. One of the things young people miss is that there is a certain amount of wisdom and perspective that comes with age. Now, I'm going to get back to this part later because I want you to hold me to it. But I want to tell you how I used to think about a couple issues when I was in my 20s and how I changed in my 30s, 40s, and 50s on those two issues, specifically abortion and gun rights. Okay? So I'm going to come back to that. So I wanted Hillary to win. I thought she was the best prepared person just about of anybody, other than Joe Biden, by the way, to be the president of the United States. All the background. Yes, experience does matter. Personal relationships that they've developed with people around the world do matter. Okay? Now. But my heart was with Bernie. My heart was with Bernie. My heart has always been with Bernie. I think he has the philosophy that benefits the working man. He's been telling us that the billionaires have too much and have had too much for too long, and he's right about it. And I just heard a recent statistic from Steve Ratner, I believe it was on Morning Joe, where the average salary in the 60s of a corporate executive was 70 times what the average worker made. Now it's 320 times. Now somebody can go look that statistic up. I believe the statistic to be true. Prove it to me if I'm wrong. But that kind of gap is unsustainable. What those people making all that money don't understand is we're the ones buying the goods. And if we don't have the money to buy what the goods that they're showing, you got to throw us more than a few crumbs to keep the whole thing going, okay? So, okay. So let me go back to the point about how I changed my viewpoint about two issues and how my age influenced it. When I was in my 20s, I'm going to remind young women in particular, okay? In 1972, you needed a man to sign for a credit card, your father, your boyfriend, your significant other, your fiance, your brother. Men could get all that on their own. A woman had to have a man sign in order to get a credit card, buy a car, buy a house. And by the way, at the same time, they were limited in what their occupations were. You were a secretary, a nurse, a teacher, and one of the walls that got broke down by Ruth Bader Ginsburg was that she actually got hired by a law firm after being near the top of her class in her law class. They didn't even want to let her into her law class. So where's this all going? It's going to this point. Okay, I was in my 20s, abortion on demand. That's what the feminist movement went. I was part of that feminist movement. I believed in what they had to say. The Supreme Court ruled in 72, I believe it was. It might have been 73, about abortion. Okay? They made some distinctions. First trimester, really no problem. Last trimester, we have a problem. Middle trimester, and this is my take on that because I don't remember exactly what the Supreme Court had to say about it. But as a man, I believe first trimester, no problem. Last trimester, there's issues. And for the second trimester, I am glad I am not a woman, okay? Because I'll never have to make that decision. And let me tell you something else. If men had children, there'd be an abortion clinic on every corner, okay? Because men would not tolerate what women have to tolerate to go through to have children. Now, I'm not saying there aren't abuses in the system, but the Hyde Amendment was put into effect to not let federal funds pay for abortions. And they don't. And the right keeps accusing us of, in Planned Parenthood, that they're using these funds. They're not. They're using them for breast cancer screening. They're using them for pap smears. They're using for all these other services that women can't afford or can't get from their doctors. So what's the point of the story? The story started out with age, okay? And I don't think we should judge people solely on their age, even Donald Trump. But if I had a choice between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump and Joe Biden leading this country right now, I'd take Bernie Sanders any day of the week because he has the passion and the ideas to move this country in the direction that actually Joe Biden was trying to move in, but he got saddled with a few things. And one of those things was a certain degree of decline in verbal acuity, okay? He was not as fast as Bernie is. He's not as glib as Trump is. But at least Bernie, when he says something, really says something that has some meaning and it's coherent, okay? Biden seemed not to be coherent at times, but that was because the brain was so full of so much knowledge, it was so hard for him to get it out due to the speech impediment that he has. I said, on the other hand, you listen to Bernie, it's like your next door neighbor who's 83 and clear as a bell and knows exactly what he wants to see, but inside is that 20-year-old fighting to get out. And that's my comment for today about age. This was Alan talking. Thank you.